Hello, buddy. All right, so welcome to the weekend edition. So I don't know who's gonna show up because basically, um, Rick, of course, had an interview today. So I guess a job interview, I guess. So he's not gonna make it. Metal still, offline. So trying to see if I could get Rex come in so he can promote his book, but I did send him the link, but I guess he wasn't able to make it. Um, I guess we'll figure out something. I guess, albeit this is supposed to be a panel show, but kind of hard to have a panel show when nobody wants to show up. They're too busy to show up, or So, anyways. All right. So hopefully everybody's having a good weekend. Enjoying your weekend and enjoying the time off from work during the week. So, anyways, let's see what else is going on here. Let me see. Well, maybe since they don't want to come to, since they I guess don't want to come to me, maybe I will go to them. Maybe we'll. Oh, there we. Hey, Wayne. Hey, Wayne. Somebody's here finally. Okay. Wayne. Let's see. You want to come in and you want to come in? I'll put the link up if you want to come in and hang out in the studio with me here. There's the link if you want to hop in to the studio here and join in on the conversation. Eating the oh okay. Yeah, so anyway, okay, well, figured I'd try, but anyways, all right, so yeah, so I think what we'll try to do here is I think we will try to do a little stream sniping as it would appear. I don't necessarily think this is always a good thing to do to people, stream snipe like this, but
who's a Satanist, or at least portraying themselves as Satanists. To be honest, I don't really know other than what they have produced, what they are. As far as I know, they haven't put out a statement of faith. They haven't, written anything too epic on the subject. But what do I know about them? Not much. All right, hang on. I'm looking over and it looks like my Wi-Fi signal is weak, so I'm going to kill a device in here. See if I can bring up the Wi-Fi signal. I don't know how it's sounding out there to you guys. If there is anybody out there who can hear me, let me know. Otherwise, this all might be lost. Episode 7 could be a complete failure. But even if it is, there will be an episode 8 tomorrow night Oh, I see the Wi-Fi signal kind of jumping now. It's always touch and go with that little meter there. Now it says it's fine. And I'm speaking of the meter on StreamYard. My actual Wi-Fi looks great all the time in my computer. But yeah, so I just I
You,
think we need to be cautious of what we're bringing into our books. And you're talking to a
you
guy
wrote
who
that.
has written demons
All
into his
right.
stories so that his heroes could beat them down. I'm not a prude, but I'm also not stupid. Um, so it's like a thing we have to address. We have to tighten up on. We have to consider. Now, I have an editor. I'm blessed. I have Diana who can kind of go over things with me, and she's a good bouncing board before I get out into the real world with my work. But it is something that maybe we should talk. Get yourself some accountability. A mature brother or sister. I'll say in your religion, but I mean in Christ. But everybody's particular. Try to decide what your goals are. Of course, they're to entertain, but where do you want to lead people? Do you want to lead them to darkness and desolation, or do you want to give them hope and light? And keep in mind, you don't have to beat them over the head with a stick to deliver the spirit. Well, hello, Mike. God bless you guys. I'm over here talking about God in comics, or at least how he's influencing our comics. And maybe how he might influence others. I don't know. It's a quiet night, so I might be skipping around soon. I don't mind talking to myself, but I don't have to. I'm probably going to do this at least for a half hour. I don't know. I might pull up some scripture. When I was looking today,
No.
of course, Bible Gateway, I don't know about you guys, has always been kind of part of my, when I want to read the Bible online, I go there, which is kind of silly because they're not a great site, but Romans 8:38 and 39 came up. And this is their verse of the day. They're using the NIV, which, okay. For I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord. And that's pretty heavy statement. It's a beautiful statement. And now if you're still snapping me, it's going out across the internet. But it's always been there. It's nothing new. No matter what we do, if we love him and he loves us, we're connected. Nothing's going to break that connection. But we also have to consider what we're doing to others when we do what we do. And in a large part, that's kind of, it's weird because there's all sorts of things I want to say about the drama that's online, and I end up biting my lip because in some ways it's really ungodly to participate in all the gossip and the rumors and the snarkiness. And in other ways, it's important to stand up. So it's like, how do you do it? Yeah, you know what though? I'd rather do my own show, Mike. I'm sorry to tell you, bro. I don't like going on your show. I always get shut down on there. I'd rather just talk my own piece. But I appreciate the offer. I don't know. I don't think that I could necessarily be as open in expressing what I'm saying. Hang on here.
You better.
Let me do this. There we go.
You feel about it. I'm sorry you feel that.
Little weird being under the camera by myself, so I'll just switch to this with my skeptical face.
Barely even try, but
maybe that's the wrong face to have. Maybe I should be more encouraging, but
sorry you feel that way.
I get skeptical. And the Lord kind of has to lift me out of that, just like anybody else. I was telling Diana I probably either need to get a shrink or a back into a church because
you're always welcome.
You can't find encouragement online like you used to be able to. Online has become really crazy. As we've seen, You don't really know a person till you know a person, and that can really bite you. Darkness hides under all sorts of stones,
feel
and
that way.
wickedness is just a heartbeat
Oh,
away, depending on who you're dealing with. Right now, I'm dealing with 3 cats who are kind of freaking out. I'll tell you guys, being alone for the night, I actually, it's kind of crazy. I have 2
hope.
dogs that have to be walked every like 45
I
minutes, or
hope.
else they get finicky. And then I have 3 cats that, well, right now they're kind of curious about a ceiling fan in my office, and they get up on doors and TVs and all sorts of things. So the ceiling fan is not insurmountable. So if you hear a crash, it might be one of them. I don't know. Uh, Let me try to get back into focus here, because I wanted to,
As with
I
any.
wanted to bounce this off of people, but nobody's here. I might have to make it a subject for tomorrow night. That's the other good thing about
Anything.
Diana. You always have someone to talk to, when you have a co-host. um, but the good news is none of us are going to get
I
separated
need to
from the
make
love of Christ.
the.
Um, and the only thing that can separate us is ourselves,
Oh
really.
no, that sounds a little too crazy.
So
I'll just leave
that's
it at
about all I
that.
have to say tonight. You know what? I think I've only gone 10 minutes. It's a disgrace. No, 20 minutes. So let's talk a little bit about Extreme. Tonight I played Extreme's song X Out. I highly recommend the album. The album is called Six. Uh,
Praise.
it was released this year. It was made over the last 15 years, but it's a dose of rock and roll that has been missing. These are real musicians who play real instruments, and that's their voices.
All right.
They're very, I don't know, incredible when you see them live. I consider their guitar.
All right. So let me. I guess I need to address what Chris just said there. Not that again. Not that. Because I know I've had people. I've had some issues with people before. First off, you know, it's it's easy to just give up after one trying once or twice. Okay, I never meant to make Chris feel that way that he was getting shut down. Um, Now that one time that did happen, it was because I was in the midst of something. I was trying to get done with something, and I was going to give him um, the time to talk and stuff like that. But I'm sorry he feels that way. I'm sorry he feels that he gets shut down on my channel. Not my intent, but what can I do? You know, um, he decided to make that choice, so I guess we all have to live with it. So, but anyways, um, but with that, anyways, so I was hoping to have at least some people on, but it's gonna I was hoping, as I said, hoping maybe get Rex come by to share it, talk about his book. But as it would appear, I can't find him online right now. So I know he had a show earlier. So, um, anyways, all right. So, anyways, well, since I don't have a panel tonight, what I might just do then is I might just go over some newer stuff tonight that's going on, that's gone, been brought up over the weekend here. Um, had Rick been here, I probably would. Probably would, because there was a follow up, as I told you guys earlier in the week, about the mangaka over in Japan who passed away. There was more details that came out about what all led up to that. We were going to probably go over that if I hadn't had any other guests or we weren't doing anything else. But as always, guys, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. But now that I am going to be doing the show here, I'm just going to go ahead and we're just going to treat it like one of my shows during the week. Until we find some people who may want to come in to hang out and talk. That's not the case. I understand, but anyway, so let's move on to let's see what's going on in the world of comics. Let me see if I can find some. Might be some interesting stories to look at here. There's Apex. Hey, Mike Walters. Where's Rex? I thought he would be on. I'm at work. Yeah, I thought I was hoping so too, but I sent him the link, but I didn't get. He didn't. I didn't get around to reminding him, unfortunately. Um, so yeah, I was hoping he would be in, but then I just checked Facebook and he's not on, so there's no way I can contact him like more directly to say, hey, you want to come on and and promote your book, so but thanks for popping in there, Apex. If you can like and share the stream, at least see if we can get some more friendly people. But since I couldn't get Rex on, so I can't seem to get anybody on, I'm gonna go ahead and Rick's not here tonight because he had an interview. So um, now you know how I feel sometimes when he goes on my show to co-host. Uh, what did he? Did he just not? What did he just not show up at time? Well, that's the thing. And you know me, I'll give enough friendly reminders to people. You know, but then I remember a while back when I was doing that, he was saying, "Well, you're doing it too much, almost like I feel like I have to come on." you know, um, but I didn't. Again, I didn't. I didn't necessarily want to go into like a whole bunch of like because this is something that we get to talking too much about this. You know, it's gonna sound like drama, and I'm not necessarily wanting to engage in drama here. He goes on late where when he comes on my stream. Yeah. 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 Apex, maybe we can talk about this off stream sometime. Only because I don't want to I don't want to be you know I don't want to be sitting here sounding like I'm like you know um going off on him when I'm not. I'm just stating facts. I don't want to make it seem like because that's not what I'm trying to do here. But anyways, Yeah. So, anyways, as I said, well, he's not here. I kind of hoped he would have been here, but since I got to do a panel show by myself here, I guess at least we can have some kind of conversations in the chat here. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go over some news articles here, and then you can chime. When you have a moment, if you want, you can chime in on like usual, and um, if he does eventually come in, he eventually comes in. But yeah, so. All right, so let's see now. Yeah, actually. Oh yeah, here's one of the things that, and I think I might have talked a little bit about this other day. Here's something that came up. On with the show. Ta-da! Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm trying to do here, Apex. Anyways, all right. So let's go through this article. X-Men 97 showrunner confirms Disney Plus series will portray Morph as non-binary. Now, for those of you who may remember growing up watching the X-Men series back in the 90s, this is supposed to be a continuation of that series. But the showrunners have decided to just go totally woke. Now, Morph was kind of an original character for the series, albeit he was based off a character named Changeling in the comics. Um, and supposedly for this series, for the X-Men 97 series, they're going to have him revert to his changeling form as opposed to the form that you see there, that you see here on the on the this is a form we all know more from the 90s there, but they're going to go more with his comics appearance, I guess, for the newer series. So, in the first confirmed change being made to the fan favorite incarnation of Marvel's Merry Band of Mutants, X-Men 97 showrunner Bo DeMaio has revealed that unlike the original series, the upcoming revival will portray the mutant shapeshifter Morph as a non-binary individual. Now, as many commentators, including Yellow Flash, have pointed out, of course, um, um, as many commentators point out, you know, even though yes, Morph, much like Mystique, could at a cellular level change his appearance. The point he could be a man or a woman if he wanted to, or even an animal. He would often identify himself as male. You know, Morph can change into anyone, hence the non-binary status. Yeah, I know that would seem to be the logic they're going with, but that they're not. They're doing this. That they're doing this to push an agenda. They're doing this to make a point, and that's what's going to turn. It's going to get preachy about it. You know. You could, yes, you could argue that, but but even throughout the cartoons from the '90s. But then again, there another point that even Yellow Flash pointed out too with that is that in the '90s the cartoon was made for the kids, right? So of course they weren't going to be pushing that, but now it's more like for those who grew up watching it, to rewatch, and therefore they feel that they have to, make these changes. I mean, one of the other things was is Allison Court, who provided the voice of Jubilee in this cartoon, came out and said when they were casting it that she was going to give up the role so that a Chinese, that's an Asian actress could play her because Jubilee is Chinese American. So they're doing it more to make a point than really to, and it's something that's going to turn a lot of fans away. So this change was first confirmed by DeMaio during a series-centric interview given to Empire magazine for their April 2024 issue, um, providing brief teases into the approach the series took in writing each of the series' principal mutant castmates. When it comes to Morph, the showrunner confirmed to the Empire, as recapped by the outlet's Helen O'Hara, that, quote, this is a lighter take on the character who is non binary and has an interesting buddy relationship with Wolverine. Now, Yellow Flash is kind of like has suggested that that's like code for, yeah, they're gonna be, they're gonna not only will Morph be non-binary, but now they're gonna turn Wolverine gay. Marvel needs to make money and stop making agenda-driven points. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'd be willing to watch this if it wasn't for the whole agenda. When I first started hearing, when I first heard that Allison Court was not going to reprise her role as Jubilee, I mean that many of the cast are still going to be in the show, but like for whatever reason they've chosen to like recast, like Allison Court's getting recast. Actually, Morph is also getting recast. Ron Rubin's not doing, and I don't know if that has anything to do with the fact that they're going to portray him as non-binary or what have you. But the whole, and some people would make the argument that, X-Men was always woke because you know, but uh, you know, but as I pointed out too before, yes, you have seen some signs where they have, and it's not just Marvel, you'd say DC too, where, they would make a point, but it wouldn't be at the expense of the story. It wouldn't be at the expense of the story. It wouldn't be to the point to where, they weren't necessarily looking to beat you over the head with a 50-pound book. Okay. Um, in doing so. So yes, they would kind of in between the lines would, put in maybe little stuff here and there, but X Men were never woke until 2019. Well, okay, by how we're defining woke, maybe not. It depends upon how you, I guess, define woke. I guess. I think what they're saying is Stan Lee did always, you did have you did have within the stories, you did have elements of where they would be making little jabs at like racial prejudice and all that. Granted, it was never, well, maybe with the Sentinel stories it was, but maybe by how we would define woke today, you might make a point there, Apex, that maybe it wasn't woke in the way we think of woke. But if it depends on how you define woke too. You define woke as having a hint, uh, pushing. Well, if you define woke as pushing an agenda to the point of sacrificing the story, then no, they were of course they were never woke. But if you're as they're trying to make it sound, their definition of woke is basically being quote unquote progressive or being somebody who's anti traditionalism, anti traditional family, and pro diversity, because you did have some people would even argue that some of the subtext of X-Men actually, for the time it was written in, was actually kind of an indirect shot at the civil rights movement in a way. You know, if anything, X-Men, granted, they didn't really like they didn't necessarily try to beat you over the head with it, mind you, but they didn't necessarily try to beat you over the head with it, but um, but yeah, they never try to beat you over the head with wokeness, but but they did, even you might even see back in the golden age, they'd have little tidbits. They'd usually be taking little pot shots at at the Nazis and Adolf Hitler back then too. It was just never done in a way that would just be so over the top or like just trying to push it right down your throat. That was I think the thing. So it depends upon though how you define woke though too, as I said. But anyway, get back to it, and has a interesting buddy relationship with Wolverine. Now that part, some people have suggested, including Yellow Flash, that might be code for, well, maybe they're going to turn Wolverine gay in that. Um, Unsurprisingly, this presents a significant change to the character of Morph, both as originally portrayed in the original Marvel comic and in the original X-Men the animated series. Now, again, mind you, I believe he was based off of a character called Changeling in there. So, as we continue on here. All right, so born Kevin Sidney, the mutant known as Morph, as his name implies, possessed the mutant gift of cellular level shapeshifting. Though depicted as a through and through villain in his comic book form, on the small screen, Morph was initially introduced as a proper member of the X-Men in the team's pilot episode, Night of the Sentinel. Now, I didn't even know that. I didn't know that he was actually a villain at first. Um, I know there was another mutant who I heard had had basically gained all the abilities of all the founding members. He had angel wings, he had Iceman's ice powers, Cyclops' eye beams, Jean Grey's telepathy and telekinesis, and Beast, bestial strength and agility. But let's see, yeah. Night of the Sentinels, before being killed in the same episode by a surprise attack carried out by a group of Sentinels. But in typical comic book fashion, Morph's death proves to be anything but, as a mutant is later revealed to not only have been rescued from the attack by none other than Mr. Sinister, but also had an evil personality planted within him by the villain. Yeah, which kind of gave him a kind of a split personality Um, Japanese saboteurs with squinty eyes and oversized teeth characters. Yeah, that's what was going on back in the 40s there. In fact, it's kind of funny. I just the other day just rewatched one of the Superman shorts from 1942, Japoteurs, um, in which the Japanese tried to steal a new bomber plane from the United States. Anyways, continuing on. Let's see. Following a brief stint as a mind control pawn of the leather clad Englishman, Morph is eventually rescued by his former teammate and brought back to the X-Fold, even going on to play a major role in the eventual destruction of the Sentinel producing Master Mold. And there's the evil Morph right there. The dark Morph, the Morph who had a homicidal desire to kill off the X-Men, particularly Scott. His anger was mostly at Scott for leaving him behind. I love the Max Fleischer Superman cartoon. Yeah, they're pretty cool, and I get them on Cartoon Lane. They're on Cartoon Lane. If you have Fire Stick, you can get that. But yeah, well, a lot of the Fleischer Studio stuff was. I mean, Fleischer, as I pointed out a couple of weeks ago when we did those cartoons. Of course, they had Superman, they had Popeye, and they had Betty Boop. So I mean, quite a combination of characters right there. Anyways, getting back to the article here. And of course, throughout his adventures, both in print and animated, Morph has never been portrayed as considering himself non-binary. Yeah, he never was. He's never depicted that way. While his ability does allow him to shift into any form, including that of a woman, at the biological level, he always defaulted to a standard appearance as a relatively nondescript human male. Yeah, in fact, I do remember when he was confronting Wolverine. Now Wolverine felt sorry too that he was mad that they had to leave him behind. But at one point to get into Wolverine's head, he he actually morphed into Jean Grey and said, "Yeah, I'm in love. I'm in love with Scott." You know, which really talk about stinging somebody, right? What a dirty trick that was, as I recall. But anyways, getting back to this, alas, while this ham-fisted um, change is certainly disappointing, cannot be said that it is wholly unexpected. After all, as stated by DeMaio during a 2023 Marvel livestream event regarding the series, one of his goals with X-Men 97 was, quote, to just get this right and really drill down to what I think the X-Men's always going to be about, which is just, we talk a lot about the dream, its social acceptance, and its social. So basically, DeMaio, the showrunner, has basically said he's going to use this show as a vehicle to push his agenda, push the agenda he wants to push, which is not going to go over well with the fan base. I think that I think that can sometimes make certain people feel alienated. For me, it's always going to be to come down to I think the X Men and what we're going to be trying to do with this series is talking about the power. So again, he's pretty much saying that he's making the show for himself. He's not making it for the fans who grew up on it, not making it for the people who would be likely to watch it. No, he's just making it for himself. That's going to be that's going to we all see the effects of um, self inserts, right? We all see how that works. Self inserts. Granted, he's not necessarily self inserting, not necessarily self inserting here, but still, just he's definitely making it about himself. I agree 100%, Apex. I totally agree with that. They need to be pushing, as you said, toys and merchandise. And not again. I mean, it's kind of funny because I think that kind of happened with Hasbro and IDW, how some of their deals broke down for like some of their series when people were not wanting to buy the toys because people were not happy with the. I think that was happening with the Transformers and GI Joe. That's why IDW ended up losing those licenses because they were focused more about pushing agendas and not pushing the product. And anyway, getting back to the article here, um, can kind of keep us connect and build those bridges where we can actually say, quote, hey, we are all different, but we have these little things that can still connect us, unquote. Ultimately, how much of a spotlight Marvel will put on Morph's newfound gender identity remains to be seen when X-Men 97 slashes its way onto Disney Plus on March 20th. Slashes away. That's kind of an interesting term to use, considering that they are slashing away a lot of the canon. They are definitely slashing away a lot of the canon in that. Yeah. I mean, very interesting term to use there, say the least. But anyways, we continue on here. Let's continue on with the article here. All right, so there you go. So Apex, I know you're probably not gonna watch the X-Men '90s. Like I think I know of at least a couple of people. I think the Quartering and Yellow Flags have even said that they do feel like watching. They're just gonna go back and watch the original animated series and not this piece of work, as it were. And I don't blame them. I feel the same way. Contrary to what you want, Mister DeMaio, nobody really wants or gives a hoot about LG about those type of things. Oh, here we go. Here, got another manga coming out talking about adapters adapters making short changes to the source material. So Hajime no Ippo mangaka George Morikawa speaks out against adaptations being changes to source material. "Quote unquote," the author is absolute. Now, for those of you who don't know, Hajime no Ippo is actually a pretty good anime. It follows a character named Ippo who's basically a young boxer coming up. It's a pretty interesting show. It's the underlying it's your typical underdog type story or um typical character growth story. Um, with the boxing as the background there. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Okay, so article by Nerdigans published on the 16th of this past Friday. All right, so in the wake of sexy Tanako-san mangaka Hinako Ashihara's death, Hajime no Ippo mangaka George Morikawa has revealed that the, in smaller quotes, source material respect, on smaller quote, issues she was dealing with in the months leading up to her passing are far from rare. So apparently, a lot of mangakas are in that same boat. Now, for those of you who don't know, we've kind of been covering that story the last couple weeks as well. Manga 50-year-old mangaka Hinako Ashihara, who of course, whose manga Sexy Tanaka-san was being adapted into a live action series, had recently committed suicide after having some dust ups with some network executives over her how they were changing her material. So so yeah so anyways, as he went through a similar situation with the anime and stage adaptations of his iconic boxing manga. In the days prior to her death, Ashihara had opened up about the frustrating and traumatic experience she had in dealing with the producers of Nippon TV's live action Sexy Tanaka-san series, particularly in regards to their blatant breaking of a promise to not modify the source material in its translation to the small screen. On January 27th, the bread and butter mangaka then proceeded to delete the majority of their tweets. So bread and butter, another one of her mangakas, their Twitter post and replace them with what would end up being their final tweet. According to police, sometime soon after, Ashihara took her own life. And again, just goes to show you how mangakas really feel about their work. How they don't want people to be messing with them. And yet you have a lot of these outsiders, a lot of adapters and stuff like that, just not really caring. They don't really care. They're gonna do their own thing. And the funny thing too was she was somewhat reluctant to, her. I think it was her her company, the manga company, the manga publisher, who actually really kind of urged her to go ahead and do the live action. She was somewhat reluctant because she didn't want to have them try to change it up too much. So all right. So, anyways, as we get ready to continue on with the article here. Notably, an alleged suicide note, its contents supposedly detailing the reason behind Ashihara's death has been found by the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department. However, the note's exact words have yet to be publicly disclosed. And it wouldn't surprise me if they chose not to. Probably want to keep that private um, as much as possible. They may show some of the more major details, but um, speaking out in the hopes of preventing any future such tragedies, Morikawa took to his personal Twitter account on January 31st to reveal that, like Ashihara, he had also been subject to such studio mistreatment while working on anime and stage adaptations of Hajime no Ippo. Quote, when I first started serializing Hajime no Ippo, um, I was approached by a number of companies about an anime or movie rather soon after the series started. Unquote. He stated, quote, I wasn't interested in those things at all, so I kept turning them down. About 10 years later, a company came to see me with a large group of people, and I nodded to their enthusiasm and offered them a condition. Quote, please don't disappoint the readers who have bought 40 volumes of the manga. That's in kanji right there. Morikawa then confessed that upon seeing just how far the anime adaptation's second episode deviated from his original story, he proclaimed to the series production team, quote, that's not what you promised. Stop now. If you don't stop, I will stop the serialization. Quote, everyone involved was in a panic, unquote, he recalled. Quote, but I was not satisfied, unquote. Um, Now, mind you, in Morikawa's, I mean, not Morikawa's, but in Ashihara's situation as well, she had not, one of the other reasons she was wary about it because she hadn't finished the manga yet. And I think, and you hear these situations where soon after a manga starts and they're already trying to talk people into doing anime and live action and stage adaptations. Wait till the thing's done. Just wait till the thing's done, for crying out loud. Then adapt it. Of course, always be respectful to the source material as well. However, his speaking out ultimately paid off, as after threatening to cancel Hajime no Ippo's serialization, quote, I was assured that they would improve the quality of the work, and I backed off for the time being. After that, the work turned out great, and we developed a relationship of trust. So I stopped checking the script and left it entirely in their hands. Quote, I thank the first and second directors for their hard work, um, unquote, Geeted, quote, I knew they were doing their best. So I felt a mixture of quote, smaller quotes, I'm sorry, and smaller quotes, I can't accept it. But I told myself the priority was readers, and I acted accordingly. I gave them the condition that if they would accept Kohei Kiyasu as a scriptwriter, I would leave everything to him. The editor in charge at Kodansha, the program producer, and the production company worked very hard and always reported back to me on the progress and results. These are my experiences. I don't want to reveal too much about it. Unquote. Okay, so quote here. Let's see. And as always, guys, if you haven't already, you guys can like and share the screen. See if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. But with all that being said, as we continue on here, quote, it takes energy and courage to stop something that has started running, unquote, Morikawa acknowledged. Quote, I don't even want to remember the heartache I went through. There are other examples, like the writer who really stopped the airing of an anime for 2 weeks because he didn't agree with it. There was also the writer who voluntarily terminated the anime because it interfered with the serialization of his work, or the one who went to court and won the case because he said the story was different from what he was told. Unquote. Yeah, and over in Japan, copyright laws are pretty strict too. So if you don't respect the original material, they're gonna get their pitchforks out. I'll be that way. Quote, I am not saying that the original author is great, unquote. He added, quote, however, only the author can protect the work and the readers, and he or she has a responsibility to do so. Hope that you will remember to respect and appreciate them and express your opinions with dignity, unquote. Quote, there are many examples of successful adaptations and alterations of original works, unquote, Morikawa continued. Quote, it is also true that many writers look forward to seeing, in smaller quotes, how that part will be expressed um, once, one will be expressed on smaller quote. Once a relationship of trust was established, the same was true for me. There is a big difference in the production method between the manga and the video, and it is extremely difficult to keep the original work as it is. Well, I think the best way to achieve this for everyone, including the original creator, to be involved with respect and gratitude, unquote. He then posited, quote, as for the priority of gratitude, in the case of manga artists, it is overwhelmingly the readers. Please don't forget that. This is my own subjective opinion, so please keep it as a reference, unquote. Again, mangakas are very protective of their work, right? Can't be messing with it. Well, anyways. All right. So, anyways, as we get ready to continue on with the article here. Morikawa concluded his thread by emphasizing, quote, visualization is one of the options to bring your work far and wide. I guess what he means is the anime. Um, it's not a requirement, unquote. Basically, he's saying there that basically they could do mangakas can get by without their mangas being turned into animes. In a separate thread, the Hajime no Ippo mangaka expanded on his message to new and future mangaka, therein stressing to his followers, quote, I always said that the author is absolute, even if he or she is under fire. The rights of primary authors of novels, screenplays, and other works are guaranteed by law, not just manga artists. Right. That's over in Japan. As I mentioned earlier, the copyright laws over there are a lot stricter than they are here. More, and the important thing is that only the original author knows the future. Therefore, it is absolute. Unquote. Mm-hmm. Again, as I said, they should probably be waiting till they're like the I've always been saying since we've been talking about this last couple of weeks. I just think they should always wait before doing an anime adaptation. They should just wait till the manga is finished um, before doing it, even if it does go a few years before they get to it. Quote, the future can be better after discussion, and the original author has the right to make choices, such as refusing to make the media in the first place, unquote. Morikawa continued, quote, this is also absolute. I may have sounded judgmental and arrogant, but what I have written is my own personal opinion, and I am not presuming that I am right about everything. I hope that when you when you encounter trouble, you will remember that there were people who said such and such. I wrote that the only one who can protect you is the original author. But no matter how strong your grip on the rights is, it's still a little scary. Don't make me fight alone. Interesting how he uses the fight terminology because basically, of course, Hajime no Ippo, which is his probably most well known manga, is a boxing manga. So, uh, addressing the demands from concerned fans that the Manga Artists Association, of which he is an executive director, take some sort of action to prevent such future abuses, Morikawa stressed that the association, quote, is not a pressure group and it is hard to know how and where to approach them. And they are too big and not fast enough, unquote. Quote, however, there are some board members who have voiced their opinions and are discussing ways to deal with the situation, unquote, he concluded. Quote, if you have any concerns, please feel free to contact the Secretariat. In response to Morikawa's tweet, UQ Holder, UQ Holder, manga, and fellow association executive director Ken Akamatsu, to further clarify, quote, as well as this, many people have said that they would like us as members on the ruling party to put pressure on private companies. But we cannot do that. However, some directors of the Manga Association, Artist Association, are discussing this, and I will be meeting with several top publishers later in the meeting. So naturally, this will come up. So it looks like they are going to probably try to do something about it. They just have to figure out exactly what to do, because they're not a pressure group. They're not somebody who's going to like. You're not going to see them with signs out in front of production studios saying, "Don't change our work! Don't change our work! Don't change our work!" You're not going to see that. All right, so there we go with that one. Let's see, where are we at on time here? All right, so let's see, hour and 8 minutes. Let's see. I wonder, kind of want to check something here real quick. All right. I'm just checking something. Let me see. So, all right. Anyways. All right. So, anyways, we're gonna continue on now here. See, what else can we look at here? Let's see. Actually, I do need to step away from the computer for a moment. I'll put some music on while I'm gone. When I come back, we'll figure out what to do over next. Wait, I do need to step away from the computer for a moment. So I'll be right back. Put some music in if you hear. Satanic Amazon. Oh boy, satanic cartoon. Oh, okay. This one, of course, this would be a good one to have Chris and Diana on for because of the But anyways, so let's look at this one. This one sounds kind of interesting. Um, and as I said, it would be nice to have Chris on to Chris and Diana on to talk about this one because this one sounds like it'd be something they'd have quite a bit to say on it. So, anyways, quote unquote satanic Amazon cartoon, smaller quotes, has been hotel sparked outrage and protest. Article by J.B. Augustine published this past Friday. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So, more content coming out of Hollywood is being called out for mocking God and Christianity to promote sympathy for the devil. Oh boy. Yep. Has Been Hotel, an adult cartoon streaming on Amazon Prime, depicts Lucifer and Adam's mythical first wife, Lilith, as the couple running the title establishment. The trailer Prime released on social media does a tidy and complete job of expressing the tone and slant of the series. In it, Satan is described as a quote a dreamer with a fantastical ideas for all of creation unquote, while angels are considered quote heartless unquote and unfair quote, but he was seen as a troublemaker by the elders of heaven, for they felt his way of thinking was dangerous to the order of their world. Unquote. The trailer continues. In Jewish and Mesopotamian folklore, Lilith is a figure that is a matron to the diabolical who fled Eden in defiance of Adam and God. Afterward, according to Hasman Hotel, she struck up a romance with the devil, and they conspired to tempt Adam and Eve into eating from the tree of knowledge. Hmm. And then I guess as the evil couple's end was, quote, to share the magic of free will with humanity, offering this fruit of knowledge to Eden's new bride Eve, who gladly accepted, unquote. Heaven naturally doesn't take kindly to this and sends its armies, quote, to ensure hell and sinners could never rise against them, unquote. Has Been Hotel's storyline views this as heaven feeling quote unquote threatened, while Lilith is seen as quote empowering humankind with her voice and her songs unquote. The trailer sent shockwaves through social media, and Christian conservatives are hitting back with sharp criticism. Senior editor for The Federalist, John Daniel Davidson, was on X, formerly Twitter. So I get. Let's see. So here's the tweet from John Daniel Davidson. So, quote, "Oh, look, a new Amazon Prime show in which Lucifer and the spawn of demons are the courageous heroes. Adam's original, in small quotes, sin is patriarchy. God and his angels are the cruel villains, and humanity's free will is lionized as the highest good." Unquote. Um, Yeah, I wonder if free will. Yeah, free. Yeah, does that mean free will to do evil too? Davidson wrote, "Quote: This is just moronic trash. It's vile, evil stuff." Unquote. HotAir.com associate editor David Strom reacted in an op-ed that it's, quote, hard to walk away, in brackets, from the trailer with anything but the impression that God is an oppressor and Satan the liberator, unquote. Strom added, quote, "Yes, I know that the creators of Has-Been Hotel are trolling for attention. I also know that civilization will not stand or fall based on a stupid R-rated animated series about hell." Unquote. Okay. He then opined, quote, "But geez, man, what does it say about our society that one of the largest corporations in the world, with millions of subscribers to its video service, is heavily promoting a series in which heaven's angels are the bad guys and Satan is the good guy?" Unquote. The Christian Post noted that Has-Been Hotel paints angels as quote unquote heartless and portrays the devil, demons, and Lilith sympathetically, quote unquote. The show also features Lilith's LGBTQ child, Charlie Morningstar, the princess of hell, quote unquote, on a mission to rehabilitate demons for a return to heaven. Traditionalist Catholic apostolate, Return to Order, created a petition in protest of Amazon and the series, which is very close to its current goal of 15,000 signatures. Besides this flawed plot, the show itself is replete with immorality of the worst type, unquote, says their description. So, the series is a blasphemous lie. It makes evil appear good and good seem evil. Kind of funny because for those of you who know Bible, I believe it's Isaiah 6:9, where that was actually prophesied. There will come a day when evil is called good and good is called evil. So, it is a perverse and unjust twisting of God's beautiful order and pushes a dangerous lie that devils and damned souls are caring and compassionate, unquote. It adds, quote, above all else, this is a serious offense against God, who condemns the blurring of lines between right and wrong, virtue and vice, unquote. Has-Been Hotel is the creation of bisexual animator and YouTuber Vivian Medrano. It's based on an independently produced pilot funded with Patreon. Well, I get Chris and Diana and Rex. I think it'd be very interesting to hear what they had to say on this one. With Patreon dollars that Medrano uploaded in 2019, going viral with 95 million hits, indie film distributor A24 came calling to turn the pilot into the outrageous series. Head of animation at Amazon, Melissa Wolf, um, told the New York Times that the tune gave her a quote kind of goosebumps feeling um, when you just know it's an amazing show, unquote. Medrano would add to that by remarking the larger shift toward quote diverse unquote and quote unquote LGBT stories in adult animation. So our society and our culture has kind of shifted, and a lot more diverse stories are starting to be told, a lot more LGBT stories, and things like that. As those things just enter the mix, just naturally, stories start to evolve and change. Different perspectives just automatically open themselves up to different voices, she said to Polygon. Quote, the adult animation space has been a predominantly white male space for a very long time. Very raunchy comedy, very like shock humor kind of thing. That stuff absolutely has its place, especially if it serves its purpose. But for me, I think the shift comes from more different kinds of perspectives telling stories in the space that Drano explained. All right, so there we go with that one. Where are we at now? An hour 25, so we probably keep going then. See what else we can find to talk about to go over here. That's a rumor. All right, so let's see. So yeah, so there's a root. So let's see now. So let's okay. So I think we've gone through the stuff here. So let's go over to Bleeding Full and see what we can maybe find there. See what they may have. And see if there's anything there we can find to talk about. Let's give them something to talk about. Something to talk about. Let's give them something to figure out. All right. So, anyways, let's first I will head over to the comic book section. Comic books. Let's see. There's a Danica McKellar right there. All right. So yeah, we've got an hour and a half here at least. So getting close to that. So it might be a good time to start kind of winding down. Do some stuff here. All right. So with that being said, yeah, I think I'm going to start to wrap this up a bit. I know it's a little early. Usually try to go 2 hours here, but don't think there's much more to talk about right now, so might just try to start finishing off here. So today is so of course today is Sunday, February 18th, 2023. So why don't we go ahead and take a look back at this weekend in Nietzsche history. History! So first off, going back to yesterday, of course. So on yesterday's date, going back first off, 15 years rather to going back 15 years to 2009 here. Head over there. All right, so let me just go ahead and catch that up. Let's see. All right, so 15 years ago yesterday. 15 years ago yesterday. Production IG's Alec Shumuki, which Spring Dance Eternally believe is the translation for that, premiered in Japanese theaters on, or let's see, actually was that, no, that was, I'm sorry, was released, because that's an OVA, Production IG's Holic Shimuki OVA was released on yesterday's date 15 years ago. 15 years ago yesterday, Production IG's Holic Shimuki OVA was released on yesterday's date. Now moving ahead. Moving ahead to the next piece of Nietzsche history for yesterday. On yesterday's date 10 years ago, Nickelodeon's Breadwinners premiered on Nickelodeon 10 years ago yesterday. So 10 years ago yesterday, Nickelodeon's Breadwinners premiered on Nickelodeon. The animated series Breadwinners. Now moving on to today's date. So 20 years ago today, back in 2004, 20 years ago today, in 2004, here, since I pull this up. Hey, Rick. We're actually just about to wrap up. Went over some interesting articles tonight. You know, since that was only me, I just decided to go over articles, and you know, but I figured probably just end early tonight. So, anyways, hopefully your interview went well tonight, my friend. So on this date, 20 years ago today, the 440th issue of Uncanny X-Men went on sale on newsstands on this date 20 years ago today, back in 2004. It sold for $2.25, 32 pages. Part 4 of the She Lies with Angels storyline, written by Chuck Austin, penciled by Salvador Lamoca. Danny K. Mickey did the inking. Russ Morton did the lettering, and Arnold Chang did the coloring. So on this date, 20 years ago today, the 440th issue of Uncanny X-Men went on sale on newsstands. And 10 years ago today, and I thank everybody for the likes and shares, by the way. But anyways, on this date, 10 years ago today, Nelson Frazier Jr., who many people would remember as Mabel or Viscera or Big Daddy V in the WWE. Of course, came into the WWE as one half of Man on the Mission as Mabel, then would eventually come back to the WWE in the late 90s as Viscera and Big Daddy V. Passed away on this date 10 years ago today. He passed away at the age of 43, I believe, 5 days after his birthday. Died of a heart attack 4 days after turning 43. So there's that was the passing of Big Daddy V right there. So with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight. I think we did cover some stuff. Kind of would like to add some more conversation, but we're just gonna get people in tonight, so that's okay. Hopefully, we'll get people back soon. But with that, I thank everyone for being here. We'll be back here tomorrow. Rick, you're going to be on with me this Friday as we'll be looking at comics going on sale from Quality Comics. So we'll be looking at comics from Quality Comics. So anyway, we'll be back here tomorrow night. So I thank everybody for being here, and I hope everybody had. I forgot to turn my phone off tonight. Oh well. Anyways, I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.